And a welcome also to this long, leggy person on my right, my new colleague Mark Ellen, who's going to win his spurs by telling you for a start what we've got on the programme tonight.
On tonight's programme, we have in the studio, playing live, Simple Minds, Glenn Matlock's new group Hot Club. Not in the studio, we have Tom Tom Club and Rolling Stones on video, and also dropping in at some stage in person will be Kate Bush.
Well, we've been off the air since June, and in that
studios recording her new LP, The Dreaming, and the resultant noises include helicopter rotor blades, didgeridoos, and a chorus of fake sheep. The title track, I can assure you, is comparatively orthodox, and this is it, Kate Bush and The Dreaming.
Bang goes another kangaroo on the bonnet on the van. Many an aborigines mistaken for a tree, till you're near him on the motorway, the tree begin to breathe. Coming in with the golden light in the morning. It's the new man, it's my dented the symbolized keep alive the territorial war. Erase the race, the claim the place, and say we dig for our dangle devils in a bottle and a push 'em from the pull of the bush. You'll find 'em in the road. In the road. Come in with the golden light in the morning. With no warning, we bring in the rigging. Many an aborigines mistaken for a tree. You near him on the motorway, the tree begin to breathe. Erase the race, the claim the place, and say we dig for all. Dangle devils in a bottle and a push 'em from the pull of the bush. Bang goes another kangaroo on the bonnet on the van. You find 'em in the road. In the road.
The Dreaming from the LP The Dreaming by Kate Bush. And, good grief, as I live and breathe.
it's amazing, isn't it?
It looks remarkable.
The power of the whistle test. Whisk here.
It is here, I think.
You came up by... Now, we had a curious story, Kate. You came up by train today, and you wanted to rehearse with some dancers. So you got a guards van to do this in. Is this correct, or is
Yeah,
this just completely
no.
got up?
It is true, yeah.
What do you do? Turn up at Euston Station and say, I'd like a
One
second class
guard's
return
van.
to Manchester in a guard's van?
Yeah, well, someone from the record company did that this morning, and they actually cleared it out. They took all the post out and everything, so we just had an empty carriage to work in. It was really incredible.
What's it like, sort of swaying
Very
from side
difficult.
to side?
At
yeah?
100 miles an hour, it's really difficult.
What were you trying to do? You were rehearsing a new video.
That's right, yes. So we're just checking the routine before we actually make it.
Yeah.
And there's no
How-
time, so we do it on the train.
What's your involvement in a video like that? I mean, do you start right at the beginning, do everything yourself?
I always work with the director, and you have to use an awful lot of people, obviously, but normally the ideas come from me, and because I've written the song, often I've had ideas at an earlier stage, so it's putting them into practice.
Yeah, that idea seems very much to be prompted by Australia, is that correct? We've got Aborigines and the bush and all that kind of thing. Where
Was
does
it
that
a
date
true
from?
reflection of a typical day in Australia in your experience? When did you go there? 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago, yeah. It was just a promotional trip, but I managed to talk to a lot of the young Australian people
Yeah.
about Aborigines and their knowledge of them, if they'd ever met them. And they told me all about the kangaroos and what a nuisance they are, and how they have the big crash barriers on the front.
Rhubars.
That's it,
That's right,
rhubars,
yeah.
yeah. And I picked up a feeling for what it was like from being there. So, yes, it was quite inspirational.
Has that particular track, been heard by Australians? I wonder what their reaction is towards it.
Yes, I wonder. I think it would be a lot less unusual for them, obviously, because the didgeridoo is a home instrument and they know it very well. It's probably quite boring for them. So I don't know how they'll react. It'd be very interesting.
Sorry, there's one very famous Australian featured on this album who you're not used to finding on rock records. Rolf Harris.
Yes.
This is correct, is it? He
Yeah.
plays the didgeridoo on that track.
Yes, he does. I think it's interesting how people sort of go, Rolf Harris.
Well,
because-
it's not the sort of person used to seeing in credits, you know.
No,
along
that's
with
He's
right.
not
Trevor
often
Horn
mentioned
or
on this programme. is he?
No.
No, but he is a very good didgeridoo player, which is why we used him.
Well, you go for the best, definitely.
Yeah.
What is a didgeridoo? What does it look like?
It's a long piece of wood that's hollowed out, and what they do is they find the bits of wood already hollowed out because the termites eat the soft wood and literally just hollow the branch out, and they just sit and blow through them. And the blowing technique is very difficult because while you're breathing in through your nose, you have to breathe out through your mouth, and it's like a whole circular technique, so you can just keep the drone going continuously.
So it's only people like Rolf Harris can quite master it, yeah.
Yeah, he is very good.
I'm sure he is.
Now, I also heard that on that track you employed, I think, Percy Edwards to supply the kind of synthesised jungle backing.
This is the bird impression.
The bird impressions and all the animals.
Yes. Yes. Well, I knew that in the choruses we wanted to create a feeling of the landscape, and obviously there are a lot of Australian animals, and the sounds are very reminiscent of the environment. And of course Percy could come along and give us a selection of at least 10 different Australian animals.
He's made a study of Australian animals.
Well, I think he's made a study of nearly any animal that's alive,
Yeah.
and he's very unique. I mean, there is no one else really that's doing what he does.
Well, I hope the album does well, both for yourself and for Percy. Kate Bush,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much. Before you go, there's just one question we want answered. We've been doing some research, Mark and I. We want to know why Genius of Love by the Tom Tom Club wasn't a massive hit all over the world for weeks and weeks and weeks. Have you heard it?
No.
You've not. That's
Ah.
obviously the reason. It's somebody not
This is
promoting
because
it
he
correct.
bought a copy of it. I
You bought two copies,
I
didn't
think
you?
several people out here have bought one. And you haven't.
No, I do think they're good though. I think they're great.
They are indeed, and we're not going to give up on this one because the next piece of video that you're about to see and enjoy and be terribly...
The world karate champion. I suppose you'd like to meet him as well.